So what's different about your trim than what we've seen other places?
I don't know maybe what's different. We're pretty aggressive with the trim. I'm a big believer in not just trimming a brisket just to trim a brisket, just because you want it to look like everybody else's, but understanding how your cooker cooks. So like, for example, like we leave a little bit more fat on these now that we cook on the Syntex than we did on the primitive, because this renders fat better. Kind of go through and kind of talk about how we do it. So the first thing we'll do is, but I like to look at it and kind of understand my vision for like how I want it to look when it's done. And so I see like this guy's got a decent sized decal, so I'm gonna take that off. And I don't necessarily carve into it, more so find kind of what's gonna make it flush on the bottom and then just cut kind of straight across. Next, what I'll do is this oxidized part off from the bottom side. And when you do it, kind of run your knife at an angle and leave that fat exposed. But for mine, because this meat was out from the fat, I'm gonna take it off from this side.
Okay.
So that way I can get it and create kind of my angled like edge of that flat. Now, the next thing I always do is take care of the mohawk. This one is huge on this side.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of find where it connects here at the bottom and take it from that. And then once I get to the top, because it's hanging so far over the side of the brisket, I'm just gonna take it and cut all that off. All right, so next step is kind of rounding off the corners. I've got a little gnarly thing hanging off here. So I'm legitimately taking off like just enough to round out these corners.
Okay.
So now we've kind of got like our general shape of our brisket. Now I'm gonna start kind of looking at how thick this fat is. I like doing this sort of method. It also ensures you can keep some of that fat as it comes off the side.
Right.
Because in my best case scenario, I've got my fat trimmed to where I want it to be, but I've also got fat along this side of the brisket. I like having
that's interesting.
fat
So that's
wrapped.
very different than the way other people do it, because most people expose the meat on the side. That's a new technique for me.
So like this guy right here is done. As you pinch that fat, this guy had a lot on it. But yeah, if you can kind of pinch, like the meat's not gonna do that. So like you pinch it, it gives you a decent idea of like how deep you can go. It's also the quality of the brisket. The fat renders, I mean, the fat just gets so soft. That's the one downside to not kind of like setting the edge on the other side, is kind of getting a feel for how thick that fat is.